Hello everyone and welcome. Make a cup of your favorite drink and get comfortable because this is a wonderful time for news stories from Yellow Cat. Send your own stories in the comments below and maybe they'll be in our new video. Homeowners of Reddit, what are the most insane HOA rules you have had to deal with? My parents' HOA has a rule that you are not allowed to cut down trees without a permit from them at any time for any reason. The first winter they lived there was an ice storm and a tree fell onto the neighbor's deck, taking out his entire deck and the sliding glass door that went from his kitchen to his deck. My dad went out with his chainsaw to help him cut down the tree that was now in his kitchen, and mid-storm, someone from the association heard the chainsaw and came over asking if they had a permit to cut apart the tree in my neighbor's kitchen. IIRC, he told them to get bent and they tried to give him a $1,000 fine for cutting down a tree without a permit. My friend's HOA fined him because the flagpole that was already up in his front yard when he purchased the house was too tall. He countered by flying a pirate flag on that flagpole. They are even less happy with the flagpole now. Well, currently they are trying to go after me for bushes in my front yard, saying you can't have a fence in your front yard and you must remove the bushes. There's a lady with an actual picket fence in her front yard that is allowed to keep it. But my bushes that were planted by the previous owner about 10 years ago or more have to be removed. Oh, also they put a lien on someone's house for having a boat in the driveway. Meanwhile, someone on the board has had a pop-up camper in their driveway for months. Not even a single notice was given. I was threatened with an $85 fine because they claimed my tree was shading the sidewalk by 2 inches. It was such an odd complaint. I just wondered what kind of person was involved with that report. My townhome neighborhood has an HOA that covers the exterior of our homes, since they all share the same exterior being connected and whatnot. My front door has developed a rotting spot on the edge, so I sent a claim in for the HOA to replace it. They said the front door does not fall within their definition of the exterior of the home. That's fine, whatever. I'll just buy a new one. But wait! I have to fill out an exterior change request to get a new front door. The door they said doesn't count as exterior needs an exterior change request sent to approve any external changes made. They want to control what my door looks like, but I have to pay for it. In order to sell or rent in my HOA, you must provide HOA docs to the new owner or tenant. They must be bought from the HOA, otherwise the sale/rental is not legal. $200 for a 3-ring binder with 150 pages of poorly photocopied documents. The first page, these documents have not been updated since July 2002. Please see the HOA website for updated documents. This was in an apartment complex, but it was still insane. The place I lived in had a 3-strike rule, and the strikes could be for petty S. I once got a strike for having a blackout curtain that was slightly visible behind the standard shades that were provided. And I had beach towels hanging on a balcony to dry. They weren't there for more than 10 minutes before I got a notice on my door. All this while my neighbor next door had loud parties every night. Nothing happened. And the last straw was when that same neighbor left a puke-soaked blanket hanging off his balcony for a week straight, and nothing happened. F you, Loma Palisades. I work as an architect in a very HOA-heavy part of Florida, so I have seen some mess. My favorites are, had an HOA rant and rave about approved colors. They hounded me, saying we cannot deviate from these pre-selected colors as lots of time, effort, and money was put into these groupings of 3 to 4 colors per set. Fine, whatever. Not unheard of. I asked for the approved colors. They handed me a Sherwin-Williams Coastal Colors brochure. It had like 5 sets of colors, and you can literally pick this up anywhere. I heard the approved colors just switch every time one of those new brochures came out. An HOA that does not allow trucks, pickups, but allows lifted SUVs. Not an HOA, but a building department reviewer once told me that if a client does paint touch-ups in this certain district, they can only use approved colors. But the building was not colored one of the approved colors. They did not budge on this, meaning they would rather this old building look like absolute crap decaying into nothing than allow us to touch up with similar paint. Had an HOA reject one of our designs because the front balcony was 6 inches wider than the neighbor's balcony. They must share a similar design and aesthetic style. There was once a man, Dane, who wanted an outdoor fire pit to entertain. We designed and he loved it, then went into permit, but alas, the HOA doesn't allow a visible flame. Had an HOA not allow fences, just hedges, but according to an overarching municipal code, there must be a partition that separates the pool from some main walkways for safety, kids and whatnot. Most people did the removable kind that sticks into the ground with a net since it's stupid cheap. We built a pool fence around this guy's entire yard and claimed code compliance. We have signs that we put in front of buildings that are under construction to advertise that it is our design, and we incorporate the address in that sign so that the address is still on display per county ordinance, I think. It is one of those simple signs that looks like a realtor sign. HOA, actually more like a neighborhood council, which is a bit more formalized and I believe city or county funded, doesn't allow those simple signs. Owner had to pay for this very lovely looking sign custom fabricated with wrought iron by a local guy to put in front of a construction zone. I did a small remodel for a guy, adding some outdoor space. When we submitted for permit, the building department rejected it with 2 Google Maps aerial pictures attached, one from 2010 and one from 2017. They noted that many trees that were there before are not out there now and requested that we fill out a tree removal permit. 2 hurricanes hit between then and now, which knocked down many trees. They had to pay $500 more for this permit. The implications of this means that every hurricane almost 600 square miles of home theoretically needs to pay to remove those trees that were knocked down. I know the others in this list are bad, but this one is complete shenanigans. This one was brand new to me, and so I have yet to look into it further. S like this one takes advantage of disaster victims. In practice though, it appears this only affects those who want to permit a reno or new construction. I was once warned about storing my trash in view of the street. I thought to myself, that's funny, I'm pretty on top of the trash. So I checked the date of the infraction. Sure enough, it was trash day. They were upset about me putting my trash out on trash day. I used to live in an HOA. One of the members on the board lived across the street from my neighbor and I. He sent a letter to us saying that we all have to mow the lawn on the same day at the same cut height and in the same pattern to create uniformity in the neighborhood. My neighbor and I intentionally cut on different days and in opposite patterns just to annoy the guy. My parents live in a neighborhood with strict HOA rules. However, they are one of 2 houses in the entire subdivision that are not under the HOA. But the people across the road from them are, and they're also the worst kind of neighbors. My parents have an old SUV, like a 2000 Expedition, because they needed something to haul their 5 teenagers around in. Still runs just fine, but kinda ugly. They park it on the street in front of their house most days. Neighbors across the road have called the HOA, the city councilman, the police even. Because HOA says you're not allowed to park on the street for more than 2 hours at a time. The HOA, via the D neighbors, even tried to get the city to tow the truck as abandoned when my parents went on vacation for a long weekend. Thankfully, I was house sitting for them, read mooching off their food and awesome cable package, and prevented that. The HOA can't do a D thing about it because my parents aren't in the HOA. My mom's next act of rebellion is going to be to paint their front door dark purple because it's not an approved color on the HOA list. Also, she's keeping her vote for Beto sign in the front yard forever because signs are banned by the HOA. And also, the D neighbors across the road have a cruise sticker on their car. Grass had to be exactly a specific inch height. Only white-colored Christmas lights made of white wiring, not stereotypical green. Snow and driveway and sidewalk leading to house had to be shoveled by X width and cleared off by Y time of the day. I had an HOA try to enforce that I had much too old of a car to be in the driveway. Mind you, no rust, always clean, never dusty or dirty. Went to court and the judge ordered a full audit of the HOA. It was not enforceable at all. They paid my legal fees, and last I knew, they have yet to police anything. I'm a Canadian immigrant and fly a Canadian flag around our major holidays. I got a letter in the mail from the HOA threatening a fine if I didn't take it down. Never mind the Confederate flag my neighbor has down the block, I guess. So I attend a meeting and ask the HOA members if any of them have any issues with me flying my flag, and they all said no. Except for one of the board members, who is a past her prime stay-at-home mom with a bad reputation for being a nosy a-hole. So, flag goes back up and I receive no complaints again, but see annoying mom bee walking past and giving me dirty looks. It all came to a head when I opened my mailbox one day and I found the flag cut into pieces with a note with the word Trump written on it in red Sharpie. Despite the fact that I had security camera footage, I run a small recording studio out of my house, this dumb twat denied having anything to do with it. Our HOA enforcer, aka Bully, likes to go around with his cell phone and take random pictures of people's property. If anyone's front yard isn't as good looking as his, then he would send notices. My wife was out there in the spring making the front look nice when she saw the bully walk by and take a picture and walk off. She finished and the front yard was nice looking with flowers and stuff. The next day, we get a notice stuck to our door stating that we need to redo our entire front yard with what my wife just did. 2 years ago, I was cleaning the living room and I moved the couches around and let one of the dogs outside while I was working. The back gate was shut. Somehow, during the time I was working in the living room, the HOA guy came by and yanked the gate open and the dog got out. Didn't notice this until I was done and my dog was gone. I had to search the area quickly because I had to go to work in an hour. Luckily, she didn't go very far. When beagles get that scent lock, they go after it. How did I know it was him? Got a notice the next day to secure my backyard gate. My neighbor has an open fence area since she has an end unit. She reported that she would be playing with the kids and the HOA would walk by trying to be sneaky, taking pictures with his phone. Visitor parking is rarely enforced. When they do enforce it, they tow, yet there are times I see work trucks in visitor spots overnight. I always get my parking pass from my HOA board and put the tag up for my guests. Yet, when I come back from a late night movie and I see cars parked in the visitor spots with no tags, I'm like, WTF, dude? But to be honest, I've been here for nearly 10 years and they can't do anything to us legally. Thank you for watching. Thank you for subscribing, the likes, and the comments. See you in the next video.